Big Mo sent me.
You really think that I don't know that? You talked to little Stevie?
Which Stevie you talking about? You talking about Stevie Palanchi? You talking about Stevie with, his mother's got the big nose?
Big nose Stevie. He got sent up the river on a little fishing trip. You talked to Stevie down at the dock.
About what?
The thing.
What thing?
The thing with the guy.
Oh, the thing with the guy. Handle.
Because it would be very bad if that thing got found out.
Ain't nobody gonna find out anything about the thing.
You tell Big Mo. I'll swing by the shop. I'll talk to him about the... Because Mo always knows. Okay, to the dock. This is definitely not, advice on how to behave in life. Like, disclaimer, don't do this. Maria, she got that blooming onion.
Oh yeah, she got the bloomin' onion. The fucking Outback Steakhouse. It's like,
fucking
it's not even
ugly,
real
huh?
fucking, hey.
You scan mirrors yet? Or just people?
Look at these two.
Looking rough love.
No, you're not talking to me.
You talking to me? You guys is talking to me?
Not talking fucking to me.
Did you rob a laundromat or just lose a bet?
Because you got your blonde hair, you think you're hot shit.
You run a silly little production around here, though I hate to admit it. This is the first time you dressed the part.
Look at you, with your stick-on chest hair, with your little face not even looking at me.
The fuck you looking
Look at me when I'm talking to you.
Eyes ain't for garbage.
Where'd your clothes go?
Looking out here.
I've seen less beady eyes on most mugshots.
Thieves? Want a piece of these fucking beady eyes? Fucking beat all over you.
I'm not surprised. You strike me as having experience beating it.
Accent is fake.
Oh, you's a fucking wise guy now, eh? You fucking wise guy? You think you so smart with your college? I don't know what accent I went to there in the middle.
It shifted.
In USPSA, you'd be the reason they invented a slow and clueless category.
YouTube commenters don't even like you.
Hey, we got a fucking wise guy over here. A little thinking he knows about little accents.
Got his fucking chest hair out.
Look at this guy. This guy wouldn't know a fucking accent if it hit him on the Brooklyn train.
You had a fucking bloomin' onion before?
Your obsession with Outback is unhealthy.
Look at this guy. He thinks he knows something about me.
Irish Panther was a nickname given to you by cheap artificial intelligence.
Oh, you think you know? You think you know? Irish Panther, standing reservation, Outback, fucking steakhouse, bloomin' onions. I would never take you. I would never take you nor your mother.
I wouldn't go to a steak dinner with you, even if it were to Gallagher's. And you gave me a happy ending.
You stupid blonde. Little titties out here. No, that's sexual harassment.
Yeah, you can't. My mother make the best fucking pasta in New York, son. No, I don't know if son is what they say, actually. I'm a little confused. Fucking bada bing, bada bang. Oh. I went a little too far. I wasn't paying attention. I was getting up in his face, you see.
You walk through life completely friendless. And nobody at work even pretends to like you.
No. I got a fucking friend. You wanna meet my fucking friend? He's right here, he's big.
I'd ask if you're a pitcher or a catcher, but you don't even know the first thing about baseball.
Oh, you don't think I'm a real fucking New York Yankees fan? Hey, batter up.
That was awesome. That was thrilling.
It actually didn't do what I thought it would. I mean...
The cow.
Cow in the background.
Dude, I torched her.
Actually, you did. Wow.
I mean, she took...
I mean, yeah, absolutely. All of those are extremely vital.
We might get some ridicule for this.
This
one might go poorly for us.
What?
Now that's what New York Yankees fans do. They just fucking shoot people in the head. I don't know. Greetings, everyone. Here's the good news and the bad news. The good news is you guys are going to get a great video today. On the Fitz Special, one of the cooler sort of gun package modifications, whatever you want to call it, of all time. The bad news is we are starting from scratch because we just filmed the whole video and figured out one of the two of us did not have a microphone on. So welcome back to the top of the video. Hopefully the only time we make that, that we deal with that. So anyway, we're going to be looking at the Fitz Special. We've got a couple really cool and very different examples here that we're going to be showing off. Plinking these bad boys on the range, seeing what kind of distance we can hit with. I mean, this obviously has a fairly niche application. This was not meant to be like the one gun to do everything gun. Like, it's a pretty niche gun. So we're gonna plink around, see what we can do. But yeah, let's say someone was like, look, I'm not perhaps man enough or risque enough to carry a Fitz Special, but I do want to carry something that's a little bit bigger bore that has some old school roots in it. Perhaps you would have a suggestion.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm Eli with Alchemy Custom Weaponry.
You are.
I feel like y'all should know that by now, but
Should.
hey, there's a new person watching this, I'm sure.
Yep.
So yeah, Alchemy Custom Weaponry. If you say to yourself, hey, the Fitz Special speaks to me, but maybe, you're not a revolver guy or you're not a cut trigger guard guy. First of all, you need to fix that. Secondly, we can help you in the meantime. Alchemy Prime Compact Officer's Link Frame, Commander Link Slide. You get the reliability of the Commander that's been around since 1949, okay? Probably works if it's been around that long, okay? And then you get the short grip frame of the officer's model. That's nice for when you're concealing it. It doesn't print as much, especially if you're more narrow-waisted like you. I'm pretty wide-waisted because I'm obese like a regular American ought to be, so I can get away with a big gun. But you and your European figure, you might benefit from a officer's grip length there.
I would, and that's actually very much in alignment with what I carry, so there you go.
Yeah. So, if you are in the market for that sort of thing, check us out.
There we go. So we're going to start off with some history. We'll go to the range. We'll have some fun. You guys will enjoy this. You might hate the gun by the end of this, but at the very least, you'll go, it's unique. I'm glad I learned about it. So let's talk about some history.
So to understand the Fitz Special, I got to take you back in time. We got to take a trip in the little time traveling machine. I got to kind of paint the picture for you about concealed carry at the time of the kind of turn of the century, okay? Because it's not like what it is today, okay? A lot of people really try to apply our target focused market that's heavily concealed carry focused, right, to kind of the way things were done back in the day. And that's just not simply how it was done.
Yeah.
Okay, concealed carry really wasn't what it is today.
Not even close.
And yeah, as you mentioned, not even close. So most of your concealed carry pistols by the turn of the century are small guns with small calibers.
Yep.
Typically, you see a lot of rimfire cartridges too, which are unreliable. You see a lot of really small pocket autos around that time, bumping off after the Browning automatics get rolling. So Derringers are a thing that people use quite frequently, which of course when's the last time you ever saw somebody carry a Derringer?
Carry? Yeah, not in a hot minute. Yeah.
So the concealable automatic was very new. The FN 1899 is kind of the first big gun that kicks that off. So, at the turn of the century, that's not really a thing that's being done, that's really popular, especially not in America, because America is a big bore revolver country.
Yep.
Okay?
Bigger is better.
Bigger is better, and we're in Texas, where the Texas rattlesnake's from,
Yep.
baby. Yeah. And so, we're focused on big bore guns, and revolvers specifically. You have to then look, once you kind of understand that thing, okay? You have to then understand something that I never hear people talk about, and that is the clothing, okay? You see you're dressed there with your little margarita shirt and
Yep.
your little hat with the shield and
Yep.
your tattoos.
Yep.
That's not how they dressed back then. Okay?
Really?
Really, yeah.
Okay.
So,
Oh, it's
are you
just
shocked?
shocking. Yeah, it's shocking.
Yeah, color would be shocked. So the pedestrian clothes at that time, high-waisted trousers.
Okay, I feel like you're a trouser guy.
I do like trousers. I do like high-waisted trousers.
Yeah.
So trousers that sort of sit at your natural waist versus where we wear them today, which is much lower. That doesn't facilitate a good waistline belt carry. kind of thing. Doesn't really facilitate that. So pocket carry is the big way of things are being done. And then, of course, you have much larger pockets. Okay, because you see somebody like Crispy over there, he wears his trousers at his lower waist, and you can see the damn imprint of his iPhone in those things.
Oh boy, I'm so glad
you
said
thought
iPhone.
that was going somewhere else. Didn't
So glad iPhone was what was communicated.
Yeah. I knew that was where you thought it was going. You were wrong. How you like them apples? You like being wrong?
Well, I mean, in all fairness, it would have been flattering to Crispy had, if there was an imprint.
Well, maybe
it'd be like, damn, son.
Maybe
Okay.
the fact that I didn't talk about that says things.
Yeah. Look, it's your show, man. I'm just a guest here.
So, anyways, so gloves are popular, right?
Yeah.
I don't really wear gloves very often, especially being from the South. Even you in Utah, I don't think you wear them out like in just regular day-to-day. very
Regular
often.
cold days, yes. Yeah.
Sure, but like it's, back then it was very, very common to wear gloves. So around this time, a gentleman by the name of Henry Fitzgerald. Okay.
What did you say there in the
Henry
first?
Fitzgerald.
Yeah, the first iteration, you didn't say that.
I know.
You said J. Herfordshire, like something like that.
So here's the deal. Like my accent starts to come out when I get kind of excited,
Yeah.
and I've had about 600 milligrams caffeine. We're talking about Fitz revolvers. I'm trying to slow down a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm trying because everybody, your accent this, your accent
It's
that.
fake, yeah.
I'm trying to turn it back. You want me to go, lawman, competition shooter, exhibition shooter, and author, J. Henry Fitzgerald.
That's pretty decent, actually.
Actually, well, the Southern accent's actually a derivative of the British accent.
Oh, I wouldn't brag about that, but okay.
I mean, I'm not really bragging. I'm just kind of giving you the history of it. So anyways, as I just said, Fitzgerald was a big-time lawman, competition shooter, exhibition shooter, and author. He became the face of Colt's manufacturing company. Pretty cool because, we think of like gunfluencers as a modern thing, and
You.
Oh, not me.
You're
you.
him.
You're me.
No one likes me.
Everyone likes you.
Please, son.
I don't like you. So.
Right. Please.
So anyways, he becomes the face of Colt's manufacturing from about 1918 until about 1944. So the interwar period, he was the face of
Yeah, he's
Colt's
like the guy,
manufacturing.
yeah.
And keep in mind, this is like the height of Colt's manufacturing. So like he's the guy. Capital T, capital G.
Capital the.
I'm going to change my pronouns to he, they, because I'll never be him.
So much happened right there.
So Fitzgerald was a huge figure in shooting at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Keep in mind that competition shooting in bullseye world was like the thing, okay?
Yeah.
And he was often found at competition shooting activities
Yeah.
under the big Colt banner, Colt booth, and he would be tuning up people's guns right there.
Yeah, it's a really cool story.
And like there's a bunch of pictures of him at matches, and he's just
Yeah.
kind of, tweaking on the guns.
Yeah, he's like
a
the
little bit.
on-site gunsmith.
And it's really a super cool thing. And as he begins to develop his shooting style, he starts to focus on rapid drawing and rapid shooting of handguns. Of course, beginning to focus back on self-defense, which of course he has a lot of experience with, being a lawman at one time. So in 1930, he writes the book Shooting, one of my favorite books, actually, of all time.
Light
And
reading?
it's one of those. You ought to read a little bit. Do you read?
I read, subtitles on movies if they have them. You're talking more about like a novel kind of thing?
No. You need to read historical documents. Just to make yourself a little more cultured.
Yeah.
So shooting would be a great one to start with, and that actually comes out in 1930, and he begins to talk about a lot of things that actually are pretty relevant today. He talks about competition shooting, he talks about defensive shooting, home defense, actually everyday carry. He's a big proponent of, he calls it the gun toter. Like that's what he called like people who carried guns. The gun toter is what he refers to them, and I just like, that's like my new thing. The gun toter.
Yeah.
The civilian gun toter.
Sure.
So anyways, he talks about that a lot. He's a big proponent of having two guns, by the way,
Gangster.
which is super badass. So his book it's an instant classic, instant success. It's being read all over the country by anyone who claims to say they like guns. So he becomes even more of a big figure after that. He then begins to develop firearms around specific roles, and he focuses on concealed carry. And as we've talked about off camera plenty of times, this begins the kind of world of snub-nosed revolvers. I'm not saying that snub-nosed revolvers didn't exist, but the way that we think about them as being small frame, small, short butt, short barrel, that started with Fitz.
The Detective Special did not exist.
Correct, right. And it was a direct,
This is the genesis
line.
of the Detective Special.
Absolutely.
I mean, straight up.
And that's just badass.
Yes, it is.
So then we get into the gun that's often just called the Fitz.
Yep.
So we have to start with the guy that started this whole thing. Fitz, he carried, you might as well practice what you preach. He carried 2 Fitz New Services in .45 Colt. 2 front pockets.
Yep.
Let's say you load that up with black powder, some rapscallion comes up you with a switchblade, you pull those things out, it looks like a broadside from HMS Victory, just and it's about as big a bullet as a cannonball too. So, I mean, 250 grain, 45 Colt, you got 12 of them, black powder. I mean, he probably didn't use black powder, but I think it'd be cool if he did. Just badass. So Fitz, of course, carried a Fitz. It'd be weird if he didn't.
Right.
So my favorite gunfighter, and this probably speaks poorly of my personality traits, I would say. Charlie Askins Jr. He actually had a Fitz. I want to quickly tell you the story. I'm going to kind of be as quickly as possible. So Charlie Askins had a friend named George Parker. George Parker is a figure of his own you need to look up. We won't get into that today. Parker met Fitz when he was at Camp Perry in the National Shoots. Fitz was showing off the Fitz revolver. George Parker comes back, and this is when we get into, this was a super popular modification for people to do on their own. Yes, the factory made some, more people made them on their own. So Parker makes a Fitz New Service. He gives it to his buddy Charlie Askins, who's on the Border Patrol, and Charlie ends up carrying it a couple times. He gets into a strange gunfight. We won't get into that. Gets into a strange gunfight with it. Ends up giving it back to Parker and modifying his own service revolvers with the cut trigger guard. He doesn't cut the barrel back because they're service revolvers, but he ends up cutting the trigger guard and is actually a big proponent of that all the way through automatics. He actually had a cut trigger guard Smith & Wesson Model 39, which is crazy, So, of course, he is among those American aviator Charles Lindbergh.
Sure.
Badass.
Yep.
Gangster Clyde Barrow reportedly carried one.
Didn't exactly buy his.
No, didn't buy his.
Yeah.
Of course, Rex Applegate. We got to talk about OSS operator Rex Applegate. His actually has an inscription.
That's the best.
I believe it's to Rex from Fitz.
Yep.
God.
Epic.
How cool is that?
Epic.
Actor William Powell carried a Fitz. And actually, why don't you tell us another actor that has a Fitz?
Old Tom Selleck. The only reason I know that is because he recently sold it.
At Rock Island.
Rock Island did the sale of it. It went at about 22.
A steal. I do as well. And that was an original Fitz. And keep in mind, we don't know how many original Fitzes there are. We really don't know. Between 50 and 200 is the estimate, but no one really knows a real number.
No one really knows. But, Tom Selleck was lettered, went for about 22, also used on screen in Blue Blood, so it's that's a really famous Fitz. I don't know, that one kind of went for a steal. But, that's a little bit about the gun. We're going to talk about the mods as we start talking about our individual guns, but before we do that, let's go over to the range. Let's plink around a little bit.
Welcome to the fucking range.
On the day of my daughter's wedding, you come to me on the range on the day of my daughter's wedding.
We don't really know how it's going to unfold today. It's anyone's fucking guess. Anyone's fucking guess.
Anyone's fucking guess. You got to put a little,
I don't have the ability to do accents.
I understand your concept, but I don't understand your concept. What kind of gangster are you?
Global.
Hey, I'm walking here.
I don't know who it is.
Welcome to the fucking range. Shoot that.
Okay.
See what you think of that. I didn't hit shit.
I think your sights are kind of high.
I'm gonna be honest with you. That's a damn good group.
Yeah, your sights are like 4 inches high, 3 inches high. Like aiming below that A. I'm walking here. I'm still working on it.
We're gonna get there. By the time you guys see the finale of this, we are gonna be old veterans at this. Okay, I'm gonna
Aim
go
4 inches below the A. See?
Wow.
I told you.
Yeah, you're not kidding. Wow. Okay, my sights are
4 inches below the A, I'm telling you.
My sights are how many rounds was that?
I think you got some more, yeah.
Wow. Okay, so my sights are very off, as we just discovered.
Let me, well, and you see on the Colts, you see this is a shortened ejector, so we really probably need...
Mine is.
Yeah, right, correct. So you probably really need to pop the ejector rod.
Yeah.
I'm gonna aim at the C on the head box, or like right below the C, and see if how off we are.
Okay. Yeah, there's both A's and H's. It's about 6 inches, yeah. She's about 6 inches high.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Actually,
well,
yeah, I think you're more, I think it is that far off.
well, I was aiming at the bottom of the A box line.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
now,
then-
granted, I'm not great with the revolver, but I'm aiming at the bottom of the line and have a reasonable group at what,
Well,
10 yards?
I was aiming at the head box C, and I'm at the top of the head, like I'm at the top of the head box.
I mean, it's about 6 inches though.
Hey, but guess what? Right here is where...
Which is where it's for.
Is where the Fitz revolver is. I mean, this is essentially, I think, one of the very first close quarter combat, like specifically designed for close quarter combat. I mean, you have to understand, the cut trigger guard, part of it, yes, is so you can get a gloved finger on there, but Fitz actually talks about also, if you're in a scuffle, you can't break your finger if somebody turns the gun on you. You get what I'm saying?
I do.
So, I mean, this is something that was designed for, you know, we're talking, you know, bubble distances.
Pretty much me to you.
Yeah, but let's, I'm gonna give you that back.
Okay.
Why don't we take a look at what I got in my pants?
Take the old big bore.
A little bigger. And actually, this is a pretty accurate, yours being a Cobra is you know.
Uncommon.
We'll say resto mod.
And I know at this point in the video, I haven't really covered what it is. We'll get there in the mods that were, because neither of these guns started out life this way.
Correct, right. I wish we had a factory gun. That'd
Oh my God.
Sick.
Very valuable.
Oh, little light strike.
So your sights are pretty clean then?
Yeah, they're pretty on. I had a light strike though. I mean, these guns have seen some things. There's been things there's a story there, we'll say. But yeah, actually shoots pretty good. You wanna shoot it?
Yeah. So these so tell people what these are. So
Oh,
people
okay.
who are
Yeah.
like,
Hey,
what's going on
y'all.
there?
So moon clips, right? So these are a really cool thing. These actually were invented by Smith & Wesson for use in their 1917 revolver during the First World War, the Great War. Pretty cool stuff there. When you first saw them, they were half moon, so they weren't like this. This actually is a relatively new concept. And so essentially this allows you to use a Colt new service or Smith & Wesson second model hand ejector with 45 ACP, because of course that is a non-rimmed cartridge, so it wouldn't work on a revolver. Well, this allows it to work, and essentially this is like an early speed loader.
It's a rim job.
Yeah, a little rim job. Hey, a little rim job ain't never hurt nobody. Okay?
So they just go in and then
Yep,
cylinder
you just
closes?
close it up.
All right, okay. How does this trigger compare to mine? Lighter?
It's better. It's a lot smoother all the way through.
Okay.
Maybe not for you.
Well, no, I'm getting you.
Okay.
That was clean.
Yeah, there you go.
I threw that.
That's okay.
Oh, interesting. A trigger.
Let me see. No recent. Well, again, this modification wasn't, you know, done by anyone professional. I don't actually know who did that, so.
This is not your gun, as we'll talk about later.
Right.
Through that.
You know what though, Jake? I do have to give you this. Like, your revolver shooting has gotten significantly better from our original video.
The day that we did that, frankly, I just had a meltdown. And there's those moments where you go, you know what? This ain't it today. And that's just what it is.
I've I've been there.
If I focus, like, I'm not shooting a revolver great, but it's like, effectively at least. By the way, we're shooting paper, not steel. So when you guys are like, they barely hit the steel, it's because we're shooting paper. There's just steel in the background.
Oh, another light strike. Another light strike.
Oh yeah, she's riding the struggle bus there.
Yeah.
Oh, no,
actually, that was
one light strike.
That was one light strike, just like the last one.
Yeah, interesting.
That could be ammo. That could be the hammer. I don't know. But hey, we'll work with it.
Yeah. So we'll take you to the next section, whatever it is. We'll be back on the range a little bit later to sort of test distance and see, I don't know, how far could you actually be effective with one of these bad boys. Until then, let's go back to the guys, want to take a quick moment. We'll be back to some Fitz things here in just a moment. But to thank sponsor of the video today, that'd be Ammo to Go. Frankly, I was a customer of theirs. That's where I buy all the ammo for the 1911 Syndicate videos. Yes, I still pay for ammo. But they are going to do a giveaway. Basically, they're going to sponsor one lottery class seat to our Patreon only class. So every year for Patreon, we do a private, basically invitation only sort of class. You can only attend if you're on Patreon. This year it will be a class with HK. More than likely in September, chances are it will be a 2-day hammer-fired pistol class. Still hammering out the details, but pretty confident that's what it'll be. So there's a form down in the video description. You guys can just go to the form, sign up there. You're in the giveaway. But here's where Ammo to Go sweetens the pot. If you happen to pick up your ammo there between now and let me make sure I'm getting the date right, July 30th, basically for each $100 that you spend, you get an extra entry into the giveaway. So if you dropped $800 there, that's an extra 8 entries into the class. They are basically doing class, ammo, and hotel is what that giveaway will cover. It'll be really fun for one of you guys to win that and come out. This was a lot of fun last year, running MP5s, going out at night, hanging out, socializing. Obviously, James will be there. Really, really good time. So again, appreciate Ammo to Go, and use that form down in the video description. Check them out for ammo, and we'll get back on with the show. Okay, everyone. Let's start talking about our specific examples, and within that, sort of what the Fitz mods are. Obviously, there's some very obvious things like the trigger guard being largely removed, but you're probably like, so, all right, let's kind of hammer this out here. So I'm going to tell you the reality of mine, and this is mine right here. So the reality is, I even referenced this in a video not long ago, talking about my EDC guns and just saying, hey, largely it's 1911 or a P2000. There's kind of a third one that's kind of a niche thing, but I don't want to, spoil it yet. This is it. So this was like a perfect niche, very limited, but a carry gun that I was interested in for limited circumstance. So you might go, why would you want to carry a 6-shot 38 special revolver without a trigger guard? Well, there's certain circumstances where you might find yourself wanting to carry a gun that isn't necessarily on your waist in a holster. Example, when I go to the gym and I'm in gym pants, that's not really an option for the most part.
Sure.
If you're going into the grocery store late at night to pick something up, sometimes you're just like, dude, a holster, I'm in sweats. It's like, it's not really
You want to
viable.
go and toss in your pocket.
Yeah. A lot of times walking the dog is like, hey, it's post-gym. It's like, I'm just grabbing the dog, heading out the door. I'm just looking for something I could have in the pocket to be better than nothing if something came down to it.
Sure.
This was my solution to that.
Great
I know
solution.
that might be a little ridiculous to some people, and I'm sure there's plenty of people who roll their eyes and be like, I can't believe this. But also keep in mind, weather considerations really comes into play on this. And it's
Right.
something that could really be overlooked, but it's like, look, I live in a cold climate where when you start layering up in a cold climate, you go, all right, I got a, base layer and a long sleeve shirt and then a Gore-Tex jacket. It's like, look, these are not real flexible fabrics that allow you to really like clear a gun
to that
and draw.
main-
Like
yeah.
that really is the reality, is like having something in a pocket is often faster than if you had to draw, like, especially something, a full-size gun with Gore-Tex on top of it. It's like, it's not real feasible. So I know it sounds crazy, but like this was a thoughtful choice in terms of like a limited use carry gun. And I'm not suggesting this is the end-all be-all carry gun. It's like, yeah, you should probably have some other stuff you rely on as well. But it's like, in limited circumstances, that would be it. So let's talk about my specific Fitz. I didn't want the old school sort of large frame.
The new service.
Fitz, right. Or a 1917 that was cut down, which I think you also have, right?
Yes.
I wanted something small and lightweight because, again, this wasn't just a prop. This was going to be used. So my gun is a Colt Cobra from 1971. So this is a, fairly vintage gun at that point. Aluminum frame. So it is inherently a very lightweight gun.
Would not have been a Fitz gun.
No, absolutely not. But in my case, again, unless you're buying an original Fitz, one of 75 of them that exist that we don't
However-
really know,
yeah, however
it's
big.
like, unless you're getting one of those, hey, you're going to have to go through the mods and basically buy a base gun that you're going to have modified. So I started with Colt Cobra because it was basically like a detective special, but lighter weight. Then I sent it down to Mark III firearms down in Vegas. Why don't we talk about the classical Fitz mods that were then done to this that sort of make up a Fitz?
And why don't you hold that up and kind of point to things? Now, you're not going to have everything, but, you'll have most of the things.
Yeah.
So it's typically a Colt revolver. Actually, you do see some Smith & Wessons, but Smith & Wesson, it took them a long time to ever do a factory Fitz gun.
Yep.
So mainly a Colt revolver. Typically a new service, although the police positive was very popular in the early days, which that gun is the one that led to the kind of the detective special.
Yeah.
So the barrel and the ejector rod are shortened, and the front sight is moved back.
Right.
So of course, with your gun specifically, you have to smack the ejector rod pretty hard because
Right.
the ejector rod's length is not as long as the casing.
You'll see it's bottoming out,
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah, it's not as long as the casing, so you really have to, turn the gun up for gravity
Yeah.
and pop the top of the ejector rod.
And so my barrel wasn't shortened a ton.
Sure.
It was maybe
Well, yeah, because it's a small gun.
Yeah,
to start with.
maybe a half inch longer, quarter inch longer. So it's like it wasn't that much longer, but it was a little bit of a longer barrel.
Yep.
Instead of relocating the front sight because it wasn't a big barrel chop, they're actually able to basically maintain the existing front sight, but reprofile it, reshape
Sure,
it.
yeah.
And you guys might even be able to see based on photos or B-roll, Kevin down at Mark III even hand serrated the top of the front sight.
He's an incredible gunsmith.
Very, very nice.
Incredible gunsmith.
Very, very, and crown the barrel. So it's like there's a nice crown on it. It's like, and that's just mod 1, the barrel component. It's like, it's really nicely done.
Of course, the big elephant in the room, the trigger guard, is cut.
Yep.
In section 28 of Fitz's book,
Yep.
he talks about cutting the trigger guard 1/8 of an inch forward of the trigger itself.
Yep, and that's
which
about where
is
we
about
are at.
where they are on that mark.
Now, one interesting note on that, I'm personalizing this to mine as well.
Sure.
So, if you were to look at photos of the Colt Cobra, old Colt Cobra, you'll notice the shape of the trigger. There's a more significant swoop,
Yeah,
right?
sure.
And so the problem with that when they cut mine was there's basically a big gap between the bottom of the trigger and the trigger guard.
Sure.
But because this is aluminum, they couldn't just like bend the trigger, it would snap. So basically they literally had to stretch this trigger to get down closer to the bottom of the trigger guard. Because otherwise you want, one, it looks stupid, but two, you wind up with this kind of big pinch point.
Of course.
That's down here. So they literally stretched the damn metal of my trigger to get it closer to the bottom of the trigger guard. That's cool.
Dude, Kevin and
That
the
is
guys
cool
over there at
stuff.
Mark III, dude, they're legit gunsmiths.
Otherwise,
no
didn't touch the
question.
trigger, didn't mess with any, factory, weights or anything like
Sure.
that. Yeah.
Of course, the hammer's cut.
Yep.
Typically on a real Fitz, that's going to be checkered or serrated
Yep.
so that you're able to use it for single action, of course.
Yep.
You have to start the trigger pull.
Right,
You
as
can't,
it
you can't
stands.
do it like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, you have to start the trigger pull, then you reach up and you cock the hammer.
Yep.
Kind of sketchy, to be honest.
Very sketchy. Yeah.
And then, they wanted to have the single action there at least. So if you had to take a longer shot, you could. Now, we actually end up pretty good with those things.
Yeah, not too bad.
Not on your gun. Actually, on this gun, the butt of the gun is shortened and rounded. Okay, your gun, you kept the profile of the Cobra,
it's already,
and you have the longer grips or stocks as they're known.
Yeah. And the grip adapter on this, by
right,
the way,
of
too,
course.
because it's really a pretty
Well,
lightweight
revolvers
gun.
in general, you need something like that.
Yeah.
So, you obviously didn't do that, but this gun actually has been shortened and had the butt rounded as well. So this is definitely a really good recreation. The barrel is actually a little longer than even the 45 Fitz's would have been. This is a good recreation. So, good kind of point to get into my gun. So this is built on a 1917 Colt. Most of the markings have been removed, unfortunately. This is hand-engraved, Fitz Special, and then someone else hand-engraved 45-ACP on it.
Yeah, it's an odd.
It's odd, but guess
odd,
what?
But...
So I actually have a really cool Fitz. Not that this one isn't, but I have a really cool Fitz 1917 Colt. That is just got a lot of bells and whistles. Unfortunately, a hot 45 ACP blew out my recoil shield, and I have to send it to Griffin and Howe to get that fixed. In the meantime, my buddy at Marthaler's, or the Vault in Asheville, North Carolina, Jake, he allowed me to use his gun, which I've enjoyed actually quite a bit.
Shout out.
Yep, shout out. And so this is, like I said, a big new service frame. You kind of made the differentiation earlier. New service in 1917, they're the same gun, essentially. Okay. Of course, the 1917, which this is a 45 ACP. So when you start to think about this, you start to go, man, like, that's pretty cool. You've basically used moon clips, which are, let's be honest, kind of like a built-in speed loader.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you've got 6 rounds of 45.
It's nasty.
That's a pretty awesome carry piece. So, this is definitely along the lines of what you have saw in the Fitz on the new service frame. So really, really cool example. I wish I had mine to show you as well. Of course, these old guns, things like this happen, so you do need to be careful with them.
Yeah, no doubt. But I mean, it's like those are the classical Fitz mods. You got 2 really different, but actually 2 really good examples of it, minus the weird engraving on your barrel.
It's hand engraved though. We checked.
Yeah, no,
it's kind of wild.
It's like it looks nice. It's just weird.
Yeah.
But really, really cool stuff. So we'll take you back over to the range, see what kind of distance we can hit with these. Okay, so now what we're gonna do, given that this, has some origins in being carried in a pocket, curiosity is, okay, well, without pulling it out of a pocket, what sort of distance could you be accurate with? Now, you will notice in the intro the first time I did this, yes, I blew a pocket out, but it did not snag on anything.
No.
It actually functioned flawlessly.
What did you get, 2 or 3 shots?
I got 3 shots through the pocket.
That's pretty impressive, actually.
So,
especially for a gun that doesn't have a shrouded hammer at all.
No.
That did pretty well.
And so just like a little pro tip me and Neil were talking about earlier, it's like, hey, if you're gonna throw that in a pocket, cool, get your thumb behind a hammer. You would often do that even with like even my HK P2000 when I throw that on, inside the holster. Just thumb on hammer, just because, hey, really can't come back if it's...
Yeah, even if you were to snag the trigger on something, if your thumb is applying pressure on the hammer, it can't do anything.
So at 10 yards, do you think I have any chance?
I mean, you shot the doll better than I thought with that. I think you might have something here.
I don't think so.
Okay,
is what I think.
Let's hit this.
Keep in mind, I got to aim low.
Oh, right.
Okay. Hands. Okay, we're all clear. We're protected here.
Way too low.
Way too low. Gun came through the pocket.
Well, you'll have that on them big jobs.
Yeah. No call.
Nope.
No
Negative.
call.
And the gun is now protruding through the pocket.
That said, no issues with the hammer. I know I'm not going over the berm. I know that.
No, it's definitely low.
That hit was already there, wasn't it?
Yes, that was not. Nope, nothing. Yeah, so, well, but 10 yards is not the distance in which you would use that in a pocket.
No.
It's just you're shooting steel.
Yes. Okay, so it turns out if you're carrying a Fitz in the pocket, 10 yards is not the sweet spot, okay? Do not recommend, do not advise. But we will now see with each of our respective guns Because these are heavy triggers. What kind of distance could you shoot these at? One thing I will note about this, my gun has been completely reliable. I mean, it's, you know, should be.
Right, you just had it worked over.
But it's, you know, yours is obviously a little, you know, kind
well,
of hit and miss
yeah,
here and
but I don't know anything about when the last time the V-spring in here has been replaced, nothing,
No.
so. But,
okay, so we're at 10 yards, okay? We're at 10 yards. We're gonna just start kind of working our way back, see what we can do here. I gotta hold a little low.
I'm just curious, where did you hold on that?
Basically where that existing round had impacted.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so mine's like significantly low. Or high.
Okay.
Dead nut center. 15, how about that? My old girls, you know, this starts to look pretty far.
I think that you need to aim at the bottom of the target.
Oh, all the way at the bottom.
Yeah.
And I'm still gonna be at the top.
I think as we go back, you just work your way down the shaft of the I don't know what else you'd call it. Where were you holding right?
I mean, the bottom edge of the target.
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
That's it, a good hit.
Yeah, it is a good hit.
Once you know your holds. Clean. Let's go to 20.
Okay.
I truthfully would not have put me hitting anything past 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, somewhere in
Well, if
there.
that was a 44 mag, it might be a different story.
Yeah. Okay. And I flinched on that, like I did jerk that trigger.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, it hit, that's what counts, but that was a shitty trigger pull.
Cool.
In all fairness. All right. 20 yards, I gotta admit, I'm actually kind of surprised right now. Yeah, clean, center.
We're okay.
25, I don't know.
You're pacing it, so
Yeah, okay, well, this feels right.
this is not 25.
Why not?
I think a little bit further back. You took like 3 steps and we're pretty short.
I eyeballed it.
All right. Oh, is that 20? I told you he was a little short.
Watch your fucking mouth.
Hey, this wise guy. Man,
Man,
that actually looks pretty
it looks far with this 1-inch barrel, mind you.
well, and I'm telling you, you're doing a good job with the holds. Great shot.
Where was it? I didn't
Right, it was right above the.
Yeah.
Am I still right in that group
Yeah,
there?
yeah, you're high, high center, exactly where you want to be.
I'm pretty surprised too, like fixed sights on both of these guns.
Yeah. Yeah.
You were a little high.
Was it?
Yep,
Wow. That's crazy.
just a touch. I didn't see that one, sorry.
Yeah, me neither.
All right.
I mean, I'm really taking a guess on what the hold truly is here.
Well, yeah. Those shots may have been pretty good for you. They just,
I couldn't see impacts.
yeah. The first one was just high of the target.
Wow. I mean, I'm beneath the target.
I'm right where I've been.
Yeah, you're cruising.
Yeah. You know, obviously these guns weren't ever designed with this sort of
No.
stuff in mind. Now, one thing I do want to kind of talk to y'all about. The Fitz, a real Fitz Special, as outlined in Section 28 of Henry Fitzgerald's Shooting, the book's called Shooting, 1930. He talks about retaining the single action on the gun, okay? This is so you can start the trigger pull, reach up, grab the hammer, because of course, as we've seen, there is no spur.
Yeah.
You grab the hammer, and then you're able to, in his words, I think he says something like, take longer distance shots.
Yeah.
So he did think about that. We got to keep in mind, Fitz was a target shooter. But as far as what this gun's primary role was, certainly not, in the role of being at 30
nothing
yards.
close to this.
Yeah. I think you take another couple of shots. I'm going to be honest with you. If I were you, I would hold halfway down on that.
On the white portion?
On the white portion,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay, all right.
Because I think your shots were pretty centered. But I don't know, that last one, I can't tell you where it was. Hey, bada swing bada.
Can't see which one it was, but
No, but you're
see
in
if I
the
can
business.
see if I can replicate it.
Yeah,
Wow.
you're in the business.
I gotta admit,
So,
I'm actually very happy with this.
Okay, where you want to go from here?
I mean, we got 15 more yards of shit.
All right.
Let's go all the way. Let's just go all the
Okay,
way.
let's just. Yeah.
I quit. I'm retired. I'm done with YouTube. Man. Look at us fuds out here.
I mean, dude, revolvers are fun. Like, you know, you could do this with other guns, but man, like, there's something
good
about a
time.
revolver.
It's a good time.
It's a great time.
You have to be so deliberate on these triggers. I mean, this trigger's, I mean, I'm taking a guess, 15 pounds?
Yeah, I don't remember off of shooting yours.
Like, like, it's heavy, I can tell you that. I can tell you one thing, when that hammer is getting close to back, your muzzle's starting to, she's flickering.
Yeah, of course. Dude, I'm telling you, man, I have to commend you that you were shooting, especially that gun, you were shooting that gun really well. And based on our previous experience shooting revolvers together, I kind of thought you were bowing out about 20 yards.
Oh, I didn't think I'd make it much past 10. I told multiple friends I was doing this. I was like, guys, 10 yards is probably the effective range of what I'm going to be hitting on this.
But I mean, if you really use the fundamentals of shooting,
yeah,
you know, it's not a bad time.
Well, and this will make you a better shooter of other things, because this ain't easy shooting right here.
No.
This is like, you're taking the master class if you're going to get good with something like this.
Absolutely.
So it's like you pick up a 2-pound 1911 trigger or something, it's like, yeah, you're going to be just fine.
Right. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yeah, you have to be deliberate. You have to watch your sights the entire time you're pressing the trigger. And I'll tell you a little something else, viewers at home. If we were using Smith & Wessons, I would actually say it wasn't that big of a deal we were shooting back here. In my opinion, the Smith & Wesson, especially the short action Smith & Wessons, they have a really nice hitch at the back of the trigger cycle that you can stage the trigger. Remember we talked about staging the trigger. The Colts do not. Colt revolvers do not have that. It is actually, as it gets further back, it's a term called stacking.
Yeah.
It begins to get harder. So when you're shooting at distance, when you start your trigger press, you'll notice, okay, everything's pretty lined up, but when you start getting real close to where the juice is about to be squeezed, it starts to get much stronger. So, if we were using Smiths, I would actually say, okay, it's not a big deal, but using Colt revolvers,
yeah,
pretty cool stuff.
Not modified. Swap guns, just, we're going to go dry, but just to show you guys how you can shoot single action.
All right, viewers at home, what I want to show you is the single action on the Fitz revolver, how that works. So first, we're going to start the trigger press, okay? We start the trigger press and we reach up and grab the hammer and cock it. All right, this is how you would use single action on the Fitz as described by Fitz in his book, Shooting. And from there, you just pull the trigger, okay? So of course, that's a pretty sketchy process, so I wanted to make sure we showed it dry. But it is something you can do.
Can be done, but you're
probably,
gonna
I would probably avoid doing that.
Yeah.
Also, I will tell you, it's one of those things that's pretty weird putting the hammer back down if you didn't want to actually... If you didn't want to actually shoot that shot. So when you put the hammer back down, you kind of have to depress the trigger, release the trigger, slowly do that, and it should go home. If you keep the trigger depressed, as you would like maybe a 1911, the firing pin will actually come all the way through to the round that's sitting there.
Yeah.
So while you can use the single action feature, if you end up doing a Fitz gun, I'd probably stay away from it.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, so to sort of wrap this up, like some of you right now are probably shaking your head and going like, this is so bizarre. Like, there's no place for this in like modern day. And it's like, look, I don't know that I can fully dispute what you're saying. It's like I get it, guys. Like, this is not Glock 43 or whatever, but it's like I genuinely think. I mean, one from a collector, like if you're truly like a gun guy and you just like cool shit, this is like kind of you got to have it. Be aware in terms of if you're like, oh, I've got a whatever that I'd like to have fits. Gunsmiths typically are going to be a little
shy.
Yeah, they're going to be a little shy on doing this just from a liability perspective, just straight up.
In fact, it is maybe important to note that like even Mark III, I think, is going to be a little bit.
Yeah, it's like you can certainly reach out to them, but they're probably going to want to have a conversation with you before
they
they're
just
like,
won't do it if they don't know it. Yeah.
No. Yeah.
So.
But I mean, truly, a really cool piece, a piece that I have gotten a limited amount of actual use out of, right? And like, I know that might be stunning to some of you, but it's just like, look, man, there is a time and a place.
You've carried that all week.
Oh, I've carried it all week, yeah. So it's just cool. Like this episode is just about showing you guys cool stuff, maybe bringing you something you didn't know about.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, it's definitely something that, it is a really cool piece of American history, cool piece of gun history, cool, custom gun history.
Yeah.
This is really one of the first, like, hey, we're beginning to really heavily modify
Customize guns.
our guns for gunfighting and concealed carry.
Yeah.
Which, of course, now the market is dramatically focused on.
Yeah.
So and remember, this is my final thought, if you will. If you do end up with a Fitz revolver, first of all, congratulations on the amount of chest hair you're about to grow. The second thing is make sure this is, you always want to follow the rules of gun safety, right?
Yeah.
But this particular gun, you want to be hyper conscious with.
Yes.
So make sure that you are always keeping your finger off the empty space that's before the trigger guard, or the lack thereof. And anytime you holster or put this gun in the pocket, you just please make sure you put your thumb on the back of the hammer. Okay?
Yeah, and don't have anything else in your pocket.
Oh, absolutely. If this gun's in your pocket, nothing else goes in your pocket as well. So please keep in mind, just to cover our asses, we are saying this is cool. We are not telling you to go out and do it. But if you do, be careful with it.
Be careful and enjoy your really cool gun. We'll see you next week. Hang on. Hit me with a premise for the conversation.
I think that defeats the purpose.
What's the general theme?
How about like picking up a shipment?
Sit down, my friend.
What questions do you have for me?
Last night at the dock, big shipment.
Big shipment, yes.
I opened shipment. Do not like what I say.
Sergey.
Shipment's supposed to be here. Shipment was here.
Yeah. We have
So what the actual fuck?
There was little hiccup regarding U.S. Customs. You understand this? You understand U.S. Customs. We have hiccup. We have to break shipment up into multiple pieces. We could not bring big shipment, too much heat.
Do they like vodka?
Well, of course they like vodka. Of course they like vodka. But they have this agent now. He does not like vodka. And we cannot pay him off.
I get him best bottle in Moscow, my city.
Sergey, what part of he does not like vodka? Do you not understand?
You see Natalia?
Oh. Of course I saw Natalia. Who is not so Natalia? You could see Natalia from 2 blocks away.
I brought her in shipment, and now she's my woman.
Well, you see, Sergey, bringing in beautiful bride, one thing. Bringing in weapon mass destruction, very different. Very different. Although, let's be honest, Sergey, both ruin lives.
We got the dock now. We sort it out. We grabbed the vodka on the way.
Grab the vodka on the way.
Okay.